Creatures of the night, it's your girl Tati. Let's talk about Dynamite. I really don't want to put too much into this. The show was not bad to me, but I was hoping for better. Once again, I think what kills it for me and a lot of other people is that things are so predictable. You see a card and you're able to pretty much get every single thing right in terms of who is going to win these matches. I would like to feel genuinely surprised about things watching um, I don't want to just say AEW, but just wrestling in general. I kind of feel like it's just too predictable, and sometimes the predictability makes it a little bit difficult to enjoy. We did start off with our champion Swerve Strickland, basically talking about his match coming up at Forbidden Door with what's his name, Osprey, and while he is talking shit about him, he's also complimenting him as well, calling him a fighting champion. He respects that, unlike the EVPs that have not defended their titles since these bitches won them. And I was just like, you know what? I've literally been saying that every single week. Finally, someone's actually bringing it up. Since he said that, the EVPs come out anyway. And Okada gets on the mic and he goes, whose house? The whole crowd goes, Swerve's house. And he goes, my house, bitch. And I was just like, holy shit, this guy, hilarious. But I wasn't laughing. Now, long story short, the EVPs and them, they get in the ring and they're talking a lot of shit and randomly bring up blood and guts. Like the way they brought it up was just like, okay, no one even mentioned anything about this. There was nothing in the cards about this at all for them to mention, so they just casually bring this up randomly, and then they go on and say, well, pretty much inviting Swerve to be their fifth member at a Blood and Guts match, and I'm just like, well, why do you guys get to be in this match once again? Are there any other people to qualify to get into this whole Blood and Guts thing? Like, what qualifies y'all to be in this once again over everyone else? Don't know, don't care. They're about to go and attack Swerve. Well, actually, one of the brothers took off his sneakers to give to Swerve. And I'm just like, how dare you have shoes on your crusty ass feet and give it to me? No way. He ends up throwing it out in the crowd, and some lucky fan ended up catching it. And honestly, I would totally dodge some sneakers if they came my way. Now, the Young Bucks, they're not happy about this, and they're going to go attack Swerve. But then the Acclaimed come out, and I guess they've been having some type of beef with the Elite, so it makes sense. I don't know, and I'm honestly not entertained. Now, the EVPs are scattering ringside, and here comes Christopher Daniels, who says, you know what? Everybody get the fuck out the ring. Jackson Perry, stay on in there. You're going against Dustin Rhodes for the TNT qualifying match. And honestly, I don't remember them actually saying this the other day on Collision, that that's what the match was for. But hey, that's what it is. And the way Christopher Daniels introduces Dustin is as if they never said that this match was going to happen. We knew about this on Saturday. Weird, whatever the case is. As soon as Dustin is pretty much in this match, within like a minute or two, Dustin is leaking all over the place. And Dustin comes off kind of helpless here at some point, and what really sells it is him bleeding too damn much. So it makes him seem like he's weaker and unable to compete as well as Jackson Perry. Jackson Perry obviously takes the win, which is so predictable. I would rather see Jackson Perry in the match rather than Dustin in the ladder match, because it seems more believable that someone like Jack would be in it. Jack ends up winning it, and honestly, I wish I felt a little bit better about this, but this was absolutely predictable. But Dustin, it's nice to see that you're still employed with the company. Up next, we have Dion Rushman versus Roosh. What, I'm not gonna lie. So this guy who Roosh was going against, I don't know who he is. He is a local talent in Iowa, and he in the face, he's kind of given Walmart brand Damian Priest a little bit. It was interesting, really interesting. He looked like he could really go against Roosh, but he really didn't get a chance to do anything. Roosh pretty much ends up beating him in like under 2 minutes, and Roosh goes on to continue attack him in the ring, and he's making these comments towards Americans, and I'm just like, oh, This is so cliche with pro wrestling, where it's like the person who is not from America is talking shit about Americans. It's just like, does it still work in 2024? Sure, but we're moving on. We're definitely moving on past this thing where they're doing this American versus whatever other country. Whatever situation is, our boy MJF comes out and they are ready to fight. They end up scrapping in the ring, and top flight security of AEW come out and they're absolutely useless. Matter of fact, Roosh and MJF team up to beat up the security guards. Then they get back into it. Christopher Daniels' useless ass come out, and he is literally following these two into the crowd. They are fighting in the crowd, and he's just, no, guys, no, no. He's waving. I'm just like, Christopher, they're not listening to you. Now this fight go from the crowd all the way backstage, and you're still fighting. And finally, they have the security guards and a few Ring of Honor wrestlers that have nothing else to do that week going on to break these guys up. And it's actually looking entertaining to me. I really like it. In my opinion, I'm still a little bit surprised that Rush is gonna be in the match with MJF. They do end up announcing that next Dynamite they will be opening the show commercial-free match. That lets me know that this is going to be a really good match. I do think it's going to be a great match. But prior to MJF getting into this picture, I really thought we was going to get a really big push for Roosh. And honestly, he's going to lose next week. For sure. Up next, we have Takeshita, Kyle Fletcher, Roderick Strong. They are joined by Uncle Don and Deacon Beretta. They're going against Kyle O'Reilly and Mark Briscoe and Orange Cassidy. Oh, I can't stand them. This was actually a pretty great match. It was fun. All of these guys, yes, I'm saying all of them, meaning Orange Cassidy too, are really, really talented. So you got all these really talented guys in the ring, and they look like they're having a great time, and the crowd is really into this. It was fun. My opinion, I was just like, Takeshita should take the win for the team. That's what I'm waiting to see. But it almost really did feel like we were going to see the babyface team take the win here. Surprise, surprise. Kyle Fletcher ends up taking the win for the team, pinning Mark Briscoe. I'm not really sure whose idea that is. Now, listen, I think really when it comes to whether if it's AEW Ring of Honor, it's really important when it comes to pinning someone. Having someone, Kyle Fletcher, in terms of champion, who's under someone like Mark Briscoe in terms of a Ring of Honor TV champion, and then Mark Briscoe being the world champion of Ring of Honor, that really surprised me that that's the route that they went with. I don't know if this is going to spill into something between Mark Briscoe and Kyle Fletcher on Ring of Honor. I wouldn't know because Mark Briscoe doesn't show up to the damn shows. But I thought that was really interesting that it was Mark Briscoe who got pinned, and then you obviously not Orange Cassidy. But they could have sacrificed Kyle O'Reilly in this situation. Really interesting. After this, though, Deacon Beretta go ahead and attacks Orange Cassidy, and I'm just like, yes, thank you, Deacon Beretta, for doing the Lord's work. But then here we have Will Nightingale's music playing. All the guys literally stopped and were just like, well, what's she going to do? Why would she be coming out here to do anything? And earlier that night, I forgot to mention this, Willow Nightingale basically says she has Orange Cassidy back. So people are probably wondering, is she going to come out and fight? Her music is playing for a little bit. And then that's when we see Chris Statlander pretty much dragging and tossing her ass out and beating her up. Sully's on the microphone, talking shit about Willow Nightingale, saying the next time that she tries them, she's going to be at the ER or whatever. And then they end up taking a picture of her while she's laid out on the ground. Really funny. But some people might not have paid attention to this. But while that's going on, you can actually see the Undisputed Kingdom kind of trying to keep Kyle O'Reilly away from all the shenanigans. They're kind of trying to pull him towards them as a group. And you can really see that they're having a little bit of influence on Kyle O'Reilly by keeping him away from being part of whatever the hell that was that just went on. And I actually feeling like maybe, just maybe, I'm going to get what I want here and see Kyle O'Reilly end up joining that group. I think little by little, they're going to get a little bit more influence onto Kyle O'Reilly, and we'll see him join the group. I hope that's the play. Now we hear from Christopher Daniels, who cut a promo, and I'm just like, bro, if you want to get back in the ring, just get back in the fucking ring. You don't have to be a general manager or interim CEO cutting promos like this on the Elite. Now he goes on to say that the Elite, they're gonna have eliminator matches next week where no one is allowed ringside. And the first match that they did announce was the Young Bucks versus the Acclaimed. Who cares? Nobody freaking cares. Obviously, whoever wins that match, and what's his name? The Acclaim would get a title shot in the future. I really hate that. I really hate that concept. Put the fucking titles on the line, or you just don't. Don't tease us like this. Now, I don't see them winning that anyway, but whatever. At least they're gonna be wrestling for something. Now, we have a awkward match where it's Hook and Samoa Joe versus the Premier Athletes, which is Ari Daivari and Tony Nese. And honestly, I didn't like this. I did not like this. I also watch Ring of Honor. You guys know I review them and whatnot. And it's like they're trying to... They've been pushing the Premier Athletes on there. Obviously, they're heels on that show as well, but they've been pushing them, giving them video packages and all these things to really bring them up like they're a big fucking deal. But then they put them on AEW to squash them. I don't understand that at all. It's like they try to make it seem like Ring of Honor and AEW are not separate, but then they also make it seem like they are separate and that whatever's going on over there, don't worry about that over there. We're going to use people however we want to over here. And honestly, I'm not feeling it at all. Hook and Samoa Joe, they end up winning with like 3 minutes. And I personally don't think it was a good idea. But whatever it is that they're brewing with Hook and Samoa Joe and Shibata was holding on to the camera, which was funny. And they end up taking the win here. And ringside, Shibata snatches up Smart Mark Sterling and also puts him in a sleeper. When I tell you, Mark Sterling was sleeping in like 2.5 seconds. It was absolutely hilarious. I'm like, Shibata, you're not in the match. Let him go. I don't care about this at all. All right, up next, we had the TBS title on the line. We had Zeuxis versus Mercedes Moné for the TBS title. I personally, maybe other people might disagree, I think that this was the best match of the night. Reason why I say this, even though we had Will Ospreay and Rey Fenix in the main event, is because they gave you exactly what you expected. Mercedes, we've only seen her in one match in close to a year. A lot of people are not familiar with Zeuxis, so it was something different compared to what you would see in the main event where you're like, all right, I know Ray, I know Will, they're going to give us exactly what they give us. And I'll get into that in a little bit. I really did feel content with what I seen the ladies doing tonight. And Mercedes, not only was the outfit right, she looked absolutely amazing, but she looks really comfortable in the ring. And I'm looking at this and I'm just like, okay, I'm feeling what I'm seeing here. I'm feeling like I'm watching her and I'm seeing Sasha Banks, obviously the same person, but you guys know what I mean. My opinion, I did not care for the match that she had with Willow. I do think that this match she had tonight with Zeuxis was absolutely better than the match that she had at Double or Nothing. That's just my opinion. And I just felt like, for me, I enjoyed this match more than any other match that night. Now, Mercedes obviously wins and retains the title. So I think things are going to be interesting in terms of her going against Stephanie Vakir at the Forbidden Door pay-per-view. I think we all know who's going to win that match. After this, we have the Learning Tree, Chris Jericho, Brian Keith, Big Bill, I forgot his name for a second, and they invite Private Party to come out there, and long story short, I think he was trying to teach Private Party how to be wrestlers, and Private Party just ends up whooping his ass and end up leaving. Don't know where it's going, don't care. Now, They waste our time once again with Red Death, Daniel Garcia versus Nick Comoroto in a squash match. For what? No clue. This was really, really short, and Daniel Garcia wins, and he thrusts his hips a couple of times while we have Will Ospreay backstage watching. Daniel Garcia did say previously that he had his eyes set on the international title, so that's going to come up soon. Renee Paquette ended up asking Will Ospreay about it. Will Ospreay said, "You know what? I have no time to think about this. I have a match." And I'm just like, wait, so you are worried about your match now when you actually sit here and watch Daniel Garcia's match, and now you're concerned about this match you have later on? Okay, interesting. Tony Khan, we're tired of these squash matches. If Daniel Garcia wants to go against Will Ospreay, who's been giving us bangers after bangers after bangers, put Daniel Garcia in a match where he can really show that he is a credible opponent for someone like Will Ospreay. This right here, boring as fuck. Now we're back from the commercial break, and before the main event, we have Pac, who's cutting a promo, and he's not happy. He's been taking quite a few L's, and he's not happy about it. So now he says he's entered the Owen Hart Cup tournament, and he's going to get his title match at Wembley, in his home country. I would like to see that. Now, so we also have the Bang Bang Gang. They're backstage, and interesting enough, it's Juice and the Ass Boys and Card Blade. And I'm just like, okay, what's going on here? But then it took me back to Friday when we have Rampage, how they had this little anointing ceremony for Juice Robinson, so that they can have like this free bird thing going on where it's just like, okay, you didn't win the titles with us. However, we're also making you champion as well. So I thought that was interesting that they did that on Friday. But then here we are on Wednesday, and we have Card Blade and no Jay White. I don't know what's going on here, but perhaps this was planned because Jay White can't be there or whatever the situation is. Really, really interesting. We'll see what ends up happening with that. I just want to see these fucking titles being defended. Is that so much to ask for, Tony Khan? Now, main event, Ospreay, Ray Phoenix. They do a really great job. And man, this match was really, really great. However, that flipping around shit and damn near not really selling shit, like you giving somebody a devastating DDT and shit, and nobody's selling these things. And I've said this before in the past, like if you're used to of Will Ospreay's style, Will Ospreay wrestles as if he is on pure adrenaline, and sometimes it looks like he just doesn't sell moves because he's constantly on that go mode, that survival mode to keep moving. Now, here we are, and I'm seeing Ray Phoenix pretty much doing the same thing with Will Ospreay, and I found that really kind of hard to enjoy. And like I said, the flipping gymnastic shit, while that can be incorporated with wrestling, I don't want to see all that and not see all the wrestling. Like very early on in the match, it was all flipping around and all that stuff. And I'm just like, oh, okay, that's cool, but where's the wrestling? That's why I personally had chose Mercedes match to be best for me. Everybody got their own little preference, but that's what I thought. But I did think that that match is definitely worth the watch. Man, exactly what you thought you was going to get with these guys you got. Ray Phoenix, really, really talented wrestler. However, after seeing this, I'm wondering, like, what do you do with him now? He loses. I see a lot of talented guys having these really amazing matches with Will Ospreay. They lose, and then what? You're probably not going to see them on TV for quite some time. Really, really strange things that they're doing with these opponents for Will Ospreay. But let's see what happens. Will Ospreay obviously retains as this for the International Championship. And throughout the match, we do have Swerve, who is sitting in the crowd in front row watching this whole thing. And I thought that was interesting. After the show, they're both in the ring. And somehow, some way, while they're face to face, Will Ospreay gets that title off of Swerve. And then he ends up putting it on his shoulders. So you got the international title on one, and he has the world title on the other. And I'm like, the devil is a liar, because I know that's not what's going to happen at the pay-per-view. Now, Swerve is not happy about this. Where Swerve is like, you lucky we're still friends. You lucky I actually like your ass, and I don't whoop your ass for taking the title from me. So he takes the title back, and he is standing tall in the end. Him and Prince Nana are making their way to the back. Prince Nana, there could never be a serious moment, and Prince Nana is literally not doing the absolute most with this dance. It's so funny, trying to keep things really serious, and this guy is just going off dancing. In my opinion, it does make it seem like Will Ospreay, for a quick moment, had something over Swerve. I really do feel like it would do a disservice for them to take this title off of Swerve to give to Will Ospreay. Will Ospreay, I'm kind of feeling like I've seen a little bit too much of you lately. A lot of opportunities have gone to him, while a lot of people who's been in this company for so long haven't gotten a damn thing. I personally do enjoy Will Ospreay, but I don't want to see him win the world title and also have the international title. Let him have a little run and do a little division thing with an international title. Put Swerve in the ring with other people, maybe MJF or someone else. Not sure. The show was okay. I feel like it could have been better with certain things. The squash match stuff is not really worth it. It's not worth it at all. Tony Khan, cut the shit. It's annoying. Guys, thanks so much for watching my review. I'll be back tomorrow with Ring of Honor. I'll complain about that too. I'll see you guys then. Bye.